over 50.
Y'all low tier, bro. You're telling. Hold on, how much?
53 million pounds.
Listen. Y'all took 40 minutes to get 53 million pounds. Whole time, dudes at the Louvre was out in 5 minutes with 800. I don't know. Y'all looking like some low tier robbers. I'm not gonna lie. I might need to go back to school.
They made sure.
Yo! And we've got another video by Zufri. We're doing a double. And we usually do that when we pick up a new channel, you know, get a little vibe. We're gonna get multiple videos out of it, okay? So this one by Zufri is gonna be, hey, I'm not subscribed. Hold on, let me go ahead and hit the subscribe button because we're definitely gonna be coming back. I like the other one. He does like the documentary and hunt for like search type videos like Fern, so I'm feeling those. But the UFC fighter who robbed a bank for 50 million. Now, if you guys don't know, I used to do voiceovers and still do, technically, kind of. Not really. It's not me, but it's kind of me. Voiceovers for a UFC channel where I report about a lot of the things going on in the UFC and all that. It's pretty cool. My friend of mine really put me on the UFC, and it's pretty cool. So I learned quite a bit to be able to, you know, do some cool stuff with the channel. So I want to see who he's talking about because I know UFC fighters are like degenerate. they're out here doing whatever to get a brick. So let's go ahead and get into this. Go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, and let's see why the UFC or who the UFC fighter who robbed the bank for 50 million is.
January 2006, when the Securitas Cash Depot in Tunbridge, England, opened its doors for a series of interviews. The depot was looking to fill a vacant position for its evening shift. Among the candidates, there was Ermir Hisanaj. The interview was brief, but it was enough for Hisanaj to leave an impression of being the perfect fit. Little did the interviewers know, they were not just hiring an evening shift worker, but unwillingly setting the stage for a heist that would stun the entire UK. As Hisanaj began his role at the depot, everything was normal. He seemed to be the employee the managers were looking for. But Hisanaj had other intentions. He was part of a bigger operation. His co-conspirator was an unusual criminal, a force to be reckoned with inside the octagon, and a heist mastermind on the streets. The two would end up robbing Securitas Depot in Kent, England for 53 million pounds. A story involving the lives of an innocent depot employee, a family, and a UFC fighter who traded the octagon for a life on the run. We modeled the entire thing to tell you about the story of the Securitas Depot robbery.
Securitas Depot? Wait a minute. I feel like I've heard about it. Did I do a video on this? I actually think I did a video on this.
The story begins with a security guard, Colin Dixon. February 22nd, 2006, Dixon hit the road home after finishing his guard duties at the depot. Dixon's drive was about 30 miles southeast of central London. It started off going through all the crowded city streets, but then, at one point, it turned into really lonely farmland. He had no idea that this particular route was about to become incredibly important. As Dixon traveled the familiar road, his eyes were suddenly caught by the flashing lights of an unmarked police car in the rearview mirror. Thinking it to be for a traffic stop, he pulled over. The cop approached the side window and asked Dixon to step out of the vehicle. Dixon obliges, expecting a brief encounter. But what Dixon hadn't realized is that the police officer was fake. The police badge that the man flashed was a clever fake, and the man's appearance was skillfully altered by a professional makeup artist. Dixon, caught off guard, found himself handcuffed and placed in the back of the imposter's vehicle. The fake cop turned to him and said,
"We are not policemen. Don't do anything silly, and you won't get hurt."
When Dixon instinctively tried to adjust his handcuffs, the fake officer revealed his firearm and said,
you upped the stick on him, bro.
The realization hit Dixon. He was now a pawn in a dangerous and well-orchestrated plan, a plan that extended beyond just his abduction. As he was driven away to a remote farm in Western Kent,
why does the driver up the stick? That's not safe.
Was already in motion.
Well, I mean, it's not safe in general, but like you're driving the vehicle,
Meanwhile,
but have someone else with you up the
Bay,
stick.
His family was about to get dragged into the plot. 2 more imposters wearing police uniforms identical to the one that had
Crazy.
deceived Dixon arrived at his doorstep. Down the street,
Okay.
a second van filled with accomplices was stationed. The cops fabricated a story about Dixon having been involved in a serious traffic accident. They asked Lynn and their young child to accompany them to the hospital immediately. Lynn complied. She and their child were led to the van, not to a hospital, but towards the same isolated farm where Dixon was held captive. Upon arrival, a mix of relief and terror washed over the family as they were reunited, but only to be bound and held at gunpoint. The abductors demanded crucial information from Dixon about the depot. One of them said to him,
"If you cooperate, no one will get hurt. Otherwise, we already have your family."
And so Dixon has no choice but to do whatever to save his kid and wife.
I feel like I did. Is it Ted Dixon?
Making these videos requires the
I feel
efforts
like
of a
I did. I
well-organized
think
team.
I did
That's
do
why
a video
we're
on
always
this
on
before.
calls trying to come up with a banger video. But the
On
thing
the other,
is, I hate meetings,
UFC
especially
channel.
when I have to take notes.
pretty sure,
But there's
'cause it
one
sounds
gadget that
familiar.
solved
The
this
story
for me,
sounds
and
so
that's
familiar.
the note pin by Plod. This beautiful tech gadget works as my 24/7 to use app. If you want to come back to some idea from a couple of weeks ago, just ask Plod and the note pin will show it to you on your screen. And you don't have to worry about your data with Plod's end-to-end encryption, which meets top global privacy.
I would actually use something
We've
similar
teamed up
to
with
that because I
Plod
take a
to
lot
give
of
you
notes.
20% off by clicking the first link in the description.
Yeah, I take a lot of notes. The night of the heist.
The next night wore on, and the stage was set for a heist that would go down in history. The robbers, led by Lee Murray, were ready to put their plan into action.
That's who it was.
Leah Rusha and Ermir Heisenak. Dixon, under the
Yeah,
immense
Lee
pressure of his
Murray.
family's safety, found himself coerced into a pivotal role. He was in a
Securitas
sedan,
Depot
driven
robbery.
by
Yeah, I
one of the
remember
crew,
that.
while his family remained in the back of the van.
Okay,
Their
now it's
safety
coming back
was
to
the
me.
leverage the robbers needed to gain unfettered access to the depot. The clock had just struck midnight, making it the early hours of February 22nd. The heist was about to begin. The security cameras at the depot started recording the next part of the
Chest feels
story.
kinda tight.
Dixon was led into the depot by Lee Murray. As soon
Muscular
as they were
Lee. I
inside,
haven't,
the fake officer
haven't been
crew stopped
outside to
pretending.
walk yet.
Lee Murray
It's been,
quickly
like,
overpowered the on-site
been really
security
bad all
guard
day.
and signaled the
Usually
rest
that
of the
doesn't
crew to
stop me,
come
but
in,
I'm just chilling
storm
today
inside the
'cause it's
main
Sunday.
floor of the building, and brandish their weapons on the
I don't
14
really feel
staff
like being
members
out there right
working
now.
the night shift. Following the robbers' demands, Dixon disabled the depot's security system and handed over the keys to the vault. The staff, along with the Dixon family, were bound and placed in metal cages normally used for storing cash. The guardians of the money are now captives themselves. The robbers wasted no time. For the next 40 minutes, they filled the van with cash.
40
They
minutes,
wheeled
bro.
out cart after cart loaded with 10 and 20-pound notes.
Y'all
The
can't
amount
move
of money
faster.
was staggering. The truck could only hold a quarter of the vault's
Y'all
contents,
low tier,
but they
bro.
managed to load over
Y'all low tier, bro. You're telling. Hold on, how much?
53 million pounds.
Listen. Y'all took 40 minutes to get 53 million pounds. Whole time, dudes at the Louvre was out in 5 minutes with 800. I don't know. Y'all looking like some low tier robbers. I'm not gonna lie. I might need to go back to school.
They made sure the crew were locked inside the cages and left the scene. Lee Murray and company have just made history.
Yeah.
As dawn broke on February 23rd, the
Actually,
quiet town of Tonbridge.
How much is, in 2006, how much would have 53 million pounds? How much is 53 million pounds in 2006 worth today? So it's almost 100 million worth today, probably. It's almost double. Well, okay, that's not bad, but still, bro, come on. Y'all took 8 times more time to get 8 times less the reward. I don't know, man. Y'all gotta up your game. But then again, it was Lee Murray, bro. He's they're not that cold. They're not that clean. He was a UFC fighter that it just went degenerate. Even more degenerate, actually. He was already kind of degenerate, but he went even more degenerate.
To news of the heist at the Securitas depot. For the police, this was not just a robbery, it was a direct challenge.
Not
The
because he was a
aftermath of the
UFC
heist
fighter,
was
obviously.
chaotic.
Because
Forget the great train
he's Lee
robbery.
Murray.
Forget
If you know
the
about
Northern
him,
Bank in Belfast. Britain's biggest ever robbery took place in the early hours of this morning in Kent.
It was a crime like no other.
The bound staff and the Dixon family were discovered and released. The investigation kicked off immediately.
We're gaining valuable forensic evidence. We're developing intelligence on a range of suspects at the moment. The morale on the investigation team remains very high, and I remain confident that we will both catch and convict the people responsible for this.
Despite the robbers' careful planning, they had left behind clues. Several vehicles used in the heist were found abandoned. Some still had leftover banknotes inside. As the investigation deepened, the police's focus turned to those who had helped orchestrate the heist.
Y'all might as well have
Michelle
left a
Hogg,
note
the
and
makeup
like
artist who had helped disguise the robbers,
and put your
emerged as a
signature
key
on that
figure.
joint.
Initially, she claimed to know little beyond the identities of the men she had worked for. However, as the pressure mounted, Hogg chose to fully cooperate with the police. Her testimony, combined with the evidence found in her trash, provided crucial leads. The narrative of the heist began to unravel quickly. Hogg's testimony and the evidence pointed towards Lee Murray. But before that, Murray, along with his accomplice Paul Allen, had already fled to Morocco.
They're in Morocco, bro?
In a swift turn of events,
they're
members
chilling
of the
in
gang
Morocco.
were arrested.
Crazy.
Some of the robbers received
Securitas
relatively light
gang,
sentences,
bro.
around 15 years, while others faced life in prison. For Michelle Hogg, things took another turn.
What did Michelle do?
With a
She
reported
was the...
£7 million contract on her head, she was placed under witness protection, vanishing from the public eye as the police continued their hunt for the remaining thieves. Authorities now are faced with the hardest part of the case, busting down Lee Murray and Paul Allen thousands of miles away, right in the heart of Morocco. British authorities couldn't get Murray on their own. They needed the help of the Moroccans.
Down.
After months of surveillance and preparation, on June 25th, 2006, it was time. Down in Morocco, Murray, not suspecting a thing, took a quick trip to Rabat's mall center. The Moroccan police, employing an abnormal number of officers, successfully detained him without incident. His accomplice, Paul Allen, was arrested the same day outside the mall. Back in the UK, Kent police were preparing for the extradition. However, the case against Murray took a turn when Moroccan authorities also charged him with possession of hard drugs, something that's taken very seriously in Morocco. The wheels of justice turned.
It's one thing to like steal from the Louvre, right? It's a whole other thing to steal from a bank, bro. You're taking in the common people's money, bro. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
And in June 2010, after 4 years
people
of
worked their whole lives to save that up, bro. Come on now.
Proceedings, a Moroccan court found Murray guilty of the £53 million depot robbery. Paul Allen was released from prison 6 years into his sentence, and he ended up paying £420 out of the £1.6 million he stole. None of the robbers have returned any of the money stolen to this day. The once feared UFC fighter is still in a Moroccan prison cell to this day. We usually get many emails from you guys asking how we make our YouTube videos. Since many of you are interested in pursuing YouTube content creation, we've made a small guide guiding you through.
That's what's up, Zofia. That's what's up. But hey, this can be the video. Let me know what y'all think. Were they clowns for that? Honestly, I think so. Let's see what some of the comments say. I'm gonna read like a couple of comments. Holy smokes, your animations are getting better. Things are actually moving now. Wow, that's such a positive comment. Heck yeah. I'm glad for him. I feel Colin Dixon the most. I feel for Colin Dixon the most. Imagine being forced to choose between your job and your family's safety. The emotional manipulation in this plan was just as calculated as the robbery itself. Cases like this show why hostage protocols evolved so much in the 2000s. Great point, great point. Great work, man. Truly underrated content. All right, yeah. That's great. That's what's up, man. W video. With that being said, that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. And I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye.